Hi Stitchy friends, welcome back if you're returning and welcome if you're new. I have lots of stuff to show you today, so we're gonna jump right in. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is since my last video, my birthday has coming on, so this is a birthday gift that I got. This is my little bit of haul. I have some other haul to show you as I go through stuff I worked on, but this is my only on its own haul, and that is this. So I got this store-in drawer cabinet from my sister. And it's pretty big. As you can see, it's got lots of little drawers that you can pull out, and so I'm really excited about this, and I'm going to be using this to organize all of my beads that are not like Mill Hill beads for stitching, but all of my large beads and sequins and just little doodads and things for any sort of embellishment on finishing. So I'm really excited about this. My husband liked it too. He got it and he was like, is that for crafts or for tools? And I was like, it's for crafts. And so he liked it so much, I got him one for his birthday too, for our garage. But the reason I'm so excited about this is I am a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to craft supplies, and I don't like to waste or get rid of any of my craft supplies. I'm not like that with just about anything else except for books, but I am with my craft supplies. And to give you a little idea of how bad it is, I have saved like every bead and sequin that I've come across my entire life. So every little craft kit I did as a kid, any kind of craft, I saved. And as a result, I have these jars. So I have two of them. And if you can look, there's all sorts of different beads, big plastic ones. I've got glass ones in there. I've got some weird sequins and letters, probably some buttons, some perler beads in there, some charms, like all sorts of stuff. And I have two of these jars. So I'm really excited for that art bin, because I'm gonna be hopefully organizing this at some point, which is a little daunting, but I'm not going to take this on as like a big project where I sit down and try and do it at one time, because first of all, I think it would probably take days if I did that. But I'm gonna try and like maybe every time I like go in the office where I keep all my craft stuff, like sort a handful of them or something like that. So I am excited because these have just been sitting on shelves for years. They've moved with me several times, and I never go through them because it would just be like crazy to try and find something I actually wanted. So I really do need to sort them out, at least in general, so that, you know, beads of the same size are together, so I can find what I want if I want to do any sort of embellishing. And a lot of these beads are obviously very like childlike sort of beads. So the other reason I kind of want to go through them is I have small nieces, and you know, in a couple years my kiddo will be big enough to like play with beads and things like that. So it'll be nice to get like all the big plastic ones out, so that they can get to them for like arts and crafts projects. So really excited about that. She got that on Amazon. It was on my Amazon wish list, so she just bought it right off of that for my birthday. And so thank you to my sister for that. So that'll be helpful and satisfy my organizational thing. Guys, I wish you could see this right now. I don't know. Let me see if I can move the camera without scaring her, but my cat just got in my basket because I emptied it out to make a pile to show you guys, and she climbed in my basket of craft stuff that I use. I don't think I'm going to be able to show you guys, but let's see. Let's see if we can catch her. There's my pile. There she is. Say hi, Digit. Y'all, she does not like it when like people talk, because she's scared of people besides me and my husband. So it's weird that she's over here while I'm making a video. but she like eyeballed that empty basket from across the room and came and snuck into it. So yes, that is Digit, my very opinionated, scaredy, tortoiseshell cat. Okay, moving right along. I have a couple finishes today, guys, and 2 fully finishes. So my first fully finish, I've showed this before. This is another Mill Hill Buttons and Beads kits that I did. So I finished the framing on it. Here's my little birdie button there. So this is just framed in the recommended frame by Mill Hill also. And then I framed it and I put paper on the back. So now I've completed a whole trio of these autumn Mill Hill Buttons and Beads kits, and I just need to put my library card on the back with all the information on all of them, and then I can hang them up. So that's exciting. Okay, so next, one of the things I worked on since my last video was this Janlin baby quilts. So if you haven't seen any previous videos or don't remember, my grandmother had started this quilt for my son before he was born, and she's just not, cross stitch isn't her favorite thing, so she stopped and she gave it to me to finish. And I don't really tend to enjoy stamped kits like this, but she really wanted me to finish it for him, so I'm gonna do that. And yeah, so I worked on that. So when she gave it to me, she had done most, or about half of the stitching on the stars up here. And she had done all of these blue squares along this border. Goes all the way down and across. So she did all that blue. She did, like I said, half to 3/4 of the stars. And she had done, it's hard to tell because they're the same color as the stamped, but a lot of this curtain in here is stitched, I'm sorry, other side. Yeah, this one. There's a good chunk in this that had been stitched too, in this curtain over here. So since my last video, before my last video, I had finished the stitching on the stars and done some of this in here. So what I did since my last video is I finished back stitching the stars, and I back stitched the words up top. Except for apparently the last E in me. And I'm not really sure why I didn't just finish off that E. Must have gotten distracted. But yeah. So this is taking a lot longer than I expected to stitch it. When you look at it, you're like, that's not that many stitches compared to most of the projects I work on. But I think because a combination of the fact that the stitches are larger, and I tend to measure my time in lengths of thread, so it eats up a lot of thread since it's really large stitches. But also to stitch this, because you don't want to go through the back, because you don't want that to show, and you know, the quilt is 2 layers, so you kind of have to stitch it sewing method, which I like doing sewing method, so that's fine. But you have to stitch it sewing method, but only through the top layer of the quilt, and try not to go through the back. And so it's kind of a little bit difficult. So it's gonna take a long time. So I'm gonna try and pull it out a little bit more frequently, and finish it, you know, eventually. And then probably hang it up in his room somewhere until he's, you know, old enough to be too cool for such things, and then I will pack it away and give it to him when he has kids or something like that. But it's really cute. It's kind of hard to count, and like I said, it's a little hard to stitch sewing method like that, so it's just kind of feels a little daunting at this point in time, but I only work on it like a week at a time, so it's okay when I'm working on it, but just, you know, wish it would go a little bit faster. It is really cute. I do like the picture on it. The little bears looking at the moon. Okay, next up, I worked on my Art Deco blooms, and these are from the World of Cross Stitching August 2007 issue, I believe. And since my last video, I finished my I and J. So I think I was like just a couple stitches into, like I had put just a couple stitches of this light purple in the eye last time. So finished all that out, finished my J. And so I'm going to do the whole alphabet and make magnets out of them and have these pretty little alphabet magnets. Yeah. Okay. And another project I worked on was, here we go. This is Welcome to Gotham City by Country Magic Stitch. They have both an Etsy and their own website that they sell patterns, and they do a lot of these like color block kind of movie posters that are really cool. So they got Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, Doctor Who, you know, Batman, so lots of cool stuff. Star Wars, I think I said Star Wars, but yeah. So they got some pretty cool ones, and so this is for a friend who really likes Batman. So that's what I'll be doing. And so this is what I've got. So since my last video, I filled in like a lot of this darker green here, and then all of this lighter green in here. And this I am stitching on 25 count white. I think it's Lugana. I'm not really sure, but it is an even weave for sure. And I'm stitching it 2/1 tent stitch. So, and this is not really part of my regular rotation. I just sort of throw a length of thread in whenever I can. This is the whole thing all the way across, and it will fit in this Q-snap, so it's not going to be big, but it is a lot of stitches because it's full coverage. The length of floss on this goes a long way since it's like solid blocks of color, and because I'm doing over 1 on 25 count, that's a lot of, the length of floss covers a lot of stitches. So it's kind of fun to work on when you don't want to think about anything, because I can just fill in some of those already outlined areas. And then, okay, so the main thing I worked on is I spent most of my time since last video on my Bucilla stocking. So this was a kit that someone gave me circa 1999. I did not get it in 1999. I got it many years after that. And my grandmother used to cross stitch stockings for everyone in the family, but she doesn't really cross stitch anymore, so she's passed the torch along to me. So I am very slowly working through the rest of the family that don't have them. And so this is for my cousin's wife, and she doesn't watch these videos, so it's okay. So yeah, so I think since the last time I showed this, which was several videos ago, I did about 4 rows. Was doing parking method, and I decided to switch it up and stop doing parking method. And so, oops, my needle just fell. There we go. So I started in the last like 2 weeks, I started just finishing off the threads that I already had parked. So I still have to like finish off all these ones that are still parked, but yeah, so I got 4 full rows done parking, and then started in on all these. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, because So I learned about parking method a couple years ago watching Flosstube, and at the time I was working on another stocking, but it was a Haid. So it was like crazy confetti, full coverage, I think I did it on 18 count Ada, so this is on 14 count, so it was a lot smaller. There was a lot more stitches than even this stocking, and this has a lot of big blocks of color. The whites, like even in here, these don't look like big blocks, but it's a much bigger block than you're ever gonna see on a Haid, right? And like all the black, big blocks of color. So when I was working on that Haid and I learned about parking, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Why did I not figure that out? So I started parking, and it made that project go way faster, because I think I had already worked on it like 3.5 years, and was like halfway through, and then I learned about parking method and I knocked out like the second half of the stocking in like a third of the time. So it was great. So when I started this stocking, I started at parking, and it worked out really well for me, because up at the top here, it'll show better if I actually show you the stitching. So up at the top here in this like stained glass, so the whole thing is supposed to look like stained glass, right? But like up here in this like border of the window, there is quite a lot of confetti in there. And so parking worked out really well. And I do think it makes it go for me a lot faster if it's very heavy confetti. For like Gotham City, that's big blocks of color. It's definitely a lot faster to outline the blocks and then just fill them in, and I don't have to think about it. So that one's like not a good project in my opinion for parking like that. But this one was. However, I noticed that I was just like kind of starting to feel like I just didn't want to work on it, and I was dragging a little. So I just looked at it and I'm like, you know, I feel like the parking, now that I've gotten down into the areas that are, you know, less confetti and more blocks, that the parking's just not making it go faster at all. And that if I could just stitch a whole block of color, it would make it go faster. So that's what I did. And I'm not trying to justify this, because I don't need to justify anything, obviously. But I wanted to talk about it because lately I've been hearing a lot of Flosstubers get that question, what do you do when you're not interested in a project anymore, or it's just not calling to you, or how do you find motivation, like those sorts of questions. And so my advice is, I mean, first of all, obviously, if you're not loving it, then why are you doing, like, don't ever feel pressure to finish something if you're not loving it, because like obviously we do this, you know, because we love it and it helps us relax and things like that. So if you're not feeling those things, don't feel pressure to finish a project. However, I love this stocking. I love, you know, the baby blanket. Like I want to finish them. They're, you know, gifts for other people. So there is a little bit of that sort of motivation to finish them as well. But I think they're going to be so beautiful at the end. And for the stocking, like something like that, it wasn't that I don't like stitching on it, because I do. It's just that, I don't know, I was getting kind of bored. So my one suggestion is, if you're getting bored with a project, I've really, in the last several months, have discovered that if I switch up how I'm, like my stitching path on it, or like how I'm stitching it, it's really helped me find motivation to keep going and find more interest in projects. So I used to be very like a methodical stitcher. I had to start at the top left. If there was a border, I had to stitch the border first, and I had to go in order, top to bottom, left to right. Just very like had to go in order, and I felt like I had to be monogamous because I wanted to finish it. And so a couple years ago, I kind of got away from the monogamous thing, because I found that I would just like get tired out of a project if it was really big, and then like I'd put it away and wind up like, or not put it away, but I'd wind up like not stitching on anything or not doing any sort of craft for weeks, because I was just kind of tired of that one. So I have introduced a rotation, and that's really helped a lot. But I'm still finding that on some of the bigger projects, I still get a little tired of them. So the last few months, I've really found that not being so methodical sometimes and switching it up has really helped. So on projects where there's a big border or one color that's used a lot, I found that kind of going back and forth, doing a length of thread on the border and then a length of thread somewhere else on the project and then another on the border, and kind of going back and forth has really helped. So you don't feel like you're stuck on this like heavy intensive border forever and ever and getting bored of it. And then like the stocking, like parking was great at the top of that stocking, and I just was starting to get bored with it. So now doing like finishing a length of thread in a color is making me think about it more, because I have to count more. When you park, if you're parking well, you don't have to count as much because you're just sort of going across. And like when you hit the next color in line, then you just switch to that color, go to the next color, and so on. So once you get going with parking, you don't have to think about it as much. And sometimes that's good if you need a project that you don't need to think about a lot. But because I was bored, it's actually better for me to switch it up so that I have to think about it and I have to count and like pay attention to what I'm doing some more. So that's helped, and I got a lot more stitching once I switched. And that's not to say I might like get a quarter of the way down and decide to go back to parking. I might, but that's fine. There's no rules, and that's okay. But that is my advice. Like if you find yourself lacking motivation on a specific project, but you still want to get it done for some reason, whether it's a gift or you just love the finished product. Sorry, I can talk, I swear. It's okay to just switch it up and just try stitching it a different way. Try a different method. You know, either challenge yourself, or if you're feeling too challenged, try and make it easier on yourself. And you know, sometimes that's all you need, is just a different way to look at it or a different way to move about it. So that's my 2 cents. Okay. Okay, moving on. Last thing stitching wise I have to show you. I feel like there was something else I wanted to show you that was not haul, but another tip. And I don't think I have it here, although I was quite sure I brought it out. Oh well. Maybe I put it in here. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. Okay, so in my last video, I talked a lot about mill hill kits I was working on. I just showed you the autumn one I finished, and I'm about to show you some more. But one thing with mill hill kits is most of their kits have a lot of beads in them. So I wanted to show you my solution for beading, or what I use when I'm beading. There are a lot of beading mats you can get. They even have like beading needle minders that are sticky, and you can put a couple beads on them so you can just grab them with your needle. And I'm sure those are great. I haven't tried any, but I've heard good things about them. But I have my tried and true method for holding beads when I'm stitching, and that is these little containers here. So I have a bunch of these, and what they are is the containers that electrical tape comes in. So if you go to Home Depot or any home improvement store, you get the good quality electrical tape. They come in these little plastic containers, and I save them. I was in color guard in high school and college, and I taught color guard after college. So we used a lot of electrical tape for our flags and our rifles and sabers and everything like that. Anyone in marching band uses a lot of electrical tape because the drummers also use them for their drumsticks and things like that. But if you have anyone in your family that has electrical tape, try and get them to save these. These are great for sorting and storing anything small. Pins, beads, bobby pins. I've used them for everything. I use them just literally any tiny thing. So they're just these little containers. They have lids. So for the Mill Hill kits, all I do is I dump the beads right in here. It's got a lid so I can carry it around, no problem. It's nice and wide across, so it's really easy for me to just scoop a bead up with my needle and keep going. Yeah, so I love these, and that's what I use. So if you want to be real low tech, just, you know, steal some used electrical tape containers from friends and family, and you got some stuff to sort your little small objects in. So I wanted to show you that because I have been working on some more Mill Hill kits. So I showed you last time I had started working on this pink chick, and I finished it, and I fully finished it. So I've got 2 fully finishes for this video. So this is a Mill Hill kit with Jim Shore. And so this cute little chick that looks like an Easter egg, and it's double-sided. So he's got a back with his little tail feather. It's so cute. I love that. And so these are stitched like almost all Mill Hill kits. They're stitched on perforated paper. So you stitch the front, cut it out, stitch the back, cut it out, and then you just whip stitch them together with the floss from your kit. And I love the little beads. I just love how sparkly it looks in person. I also I really love the way beaded cross stitch feels. Like I just like the way the beads feel. It's very sensory stimulating. But yes, so I won the Aqua Chick from Janet Jabber for her 3,000 subs giveaway. And I did a little research and found out that Jim Shore released 6 of these Easter chick ornaments in 2017. So I bought all the rest of them. So I bought the other 5. And I started with the pink chick. And so I had showed you, I had just started on it last time. So I had just started on the front. So I finished it, fully finished it. Cute little hanger. I've got a little white birch light up tree for Easter this year. So I'll be hanging these up next year. And I did some more research. And I don't know why, but I did. But I went looking again. And I found out that not only did Jim Shore release the 6 chicks in 2017, but he released 6 more Easter ornaments in 2018. So yes, I had to buy them. So I did. And these ones are not chicks. They are other springtime animals. So we have the bluebird, the turtle, the frog, owl, sheep. This one's really cute. I love those little swirls. And the Easter bunny. So, 1 down, 11 more to go. But yeah, I love them. They go really fast. What I've been doing is like with this and Gotham City, basically I'll pick one, either the Mill Hill kit or the Gotham City cross stitch, and I'll put 1 length of floss in on one of them a day. So they get done. And they're super cute. I love the little faces. So I've got these all kitted up in 1 bag, ready to go. All in there. There's all my chicks. And yeah. So I think next one I'm going to be working on is the white chick. I'm just sort of reaching in the bag and grabbing the next one without looking, so it'll be a surprise. And yeah, that's it. So I use this for the beads, and it's easy to carry with me. Go wherever I need to go. So yeah, that's it. that's everything I've worked on. Also did some knitting, but I'll just show that when it's done because it's a big poncho I'm working on and it doesn't look like I did a whole lot. So I'll just show that whenever it's done. But did some of that, and then so plans for the next couple weeks, I plan on working on my stocking and the alphabet letters, the alphabet magnets again. Because those are my two focus pieces right now, because they're kind of my oldest whips that are in my active rotation. And of course I'll work on, like I said, the Mill Hill kit and the Gotham City. I'll put a length of floss. I'll pick one of them to put a length of floss in each day to work on those a little. But yeah, that's it. So the stocking and the Art Deco alphabet, like I said, they're my focus pieces. But after I work on them these next couple weeks, I'll start to rotate more things in because I have worked on them quite a bit the last few weeks. And yeah, so those are my plans. Life updates. So kiddo, I think I mentioned in my last video, he had fallen and split his head open and he had to have stitches. So stitches are out. Head is healing good. He is like none the wiser. He is crazy and running all over the place and giving mama heart attacks every 5 minutes. So yeah, he's fine. He's gonna have a big Harry Potter scar right on his forehead, but such is life. He's fine. He's, yeah, crazy, crazy 2-year-olds. So yeah, he's learned that his favorite word is no. And yeah, so pray for me, send good vibes, because he's obstinate. But he's also super funny, so always making us laugh when he's not making us cry. And yeah, today, in fact, my job posted that they're hiring, so I'm really happy about that. It's gonna take a lot of work off my plate. After that person, you know, it's going to take a couple months to hire somebody and train them and things like that. So, I mean, probably closer to 6 months. But once they do, then that'll be good. And yeah, today was a crazy day, guys. You ever have one of those days where like you hit the ground running and don't stop? I'm having one of those days. So that's why I wanted to film, because I have anxious energy from going all day. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this uploaded and then I will see y'all in a couple weeks. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Feel free to ask any questions about my stitching, about me, about life in general. I am happy to have conversations. So, love you all. I hope that you're enjoying life and that you're happy and that your stitching is bringing you joy. Bye, guys.